Hey y'all, I wanted to talk today about how to read more books as a mom in particular. Most of this advice is just for myself to look back on in the future because I forget about all of it all the time. And some of it will seem obvious or you've heard it before, but I think there are probably some that you maybe haven't heard before. Or maybe you just need a reminder about some of them. So the first one is actually just listening to audiobooks. I personally never got into audiobooks before, but I realized recently that it was the voices that were throwing me off of like the fictional characters. And so I switched to only listening to nonfiction books, like Woman in Me by Britney Spears. But yeah, you can listen to audiobooks in the car or on the bus. You can listen to audiobooks while you're cleaning the house, while you're doing laundry, while you're cooking. I think the biggest issue with like being around the house as a mom and listening to audiobooks is that you have to be careful what you're listening to because your kids might overhear it. So either use earbuds or just listen to something more or listen to something less controversial. I also like to listen with one earbud in because my kids are always needing something, so I just like to be available for them with the other ear and know that I'm not missing anything. And the next piece of advice is actually specifically for breastfeeding moms. You can read while breastfeeding, like either listen to an audiobook, like I said, or you can use your Kindle, or I wouldn't recommend using like an actual physical book because like holding it open and turning the pages is really hard. But with a Kindle, you can set it up on a stand with a page turner or just hold it in one hand and just use your thumb to turn the pages. I think it's better than watching TV because it's quieter, so you're not disturbing the baby. And I mean, I know this sounds like it wouldn't affect people for very long, but I breastfed both my kids till they were 3 years old. So that's like, well, but when combining them, because I breastfed them for the same time for a little bit, it was 5 years in total of breastfeeding. And my kids liked to be on the breast basically all day, like 16 hours a day. So I know it's a time that's really precious and you want to like focus on the baby, but you can't focus on the baby the whole time. I think being able to read books while breastfeeding made me feel more comfortable with my babies and just more calm around them. You could also put a book in your diaper bag and just always have one on the go. There won't be a lot of time to read, but maybe if you're at the park and the baby fell asleep in the stroller, you could just get a few pages in. If you're on a walk, you could listen to an audiobook. You could even have someone read out loud to you. You know, a lot of couples read out loud to each other nowadays, and I think that's super cute. Next up is going to bed late and waking up early. I don't do either of these things, but I hear that it really helps giving you that like time for breathing and having space to yourself. I sleep as much as my children do, which is probably too much. And then you can read when they're in school or in other classes outside of school. Like my kids have taekwondo and ballet and swimming. Usually I have to be there for the classes, but not be involved in the classes. So I just have like an hour at a time sitting there. I may as well be reading a book. And I pay attention to the classes too sometimes, but you don't have to pay attention the whole time. And it's just a really good time to get other things done. And if you're working, you can read on your lunch break. I know it's not a whole lot of time for most people, but it is just like 10 minutes you can sneak in and read just a few pages, and that adds up. You can also read books to your children, and they don't have to be children's books. I had a friend who read law books to his baby while he was in college, and now his kid has this extensive vocabulary. They can take harder books than you think. Maybe not like gruesome books or scary books or sexy books, but maybe like a fantasy novel or light nonfiction. The next one is hard, but it's worth it, which is just asking for an hour from your parents, from your siblings, from your partner, from a friend, whoever you can, just to take an hour and go to a coffee shop and read for a bit. It's totally worth it to take some time for yourself and relax and breathe, and maybe not use all of it for reading, but just, for me, I have to read in order to feel like I've done something. So it just gives like a little sense of accomplishment. And if you're having guilt about spending time reading like fiction or, whatever, you can read parenting related books. I really liked The Montessori Toddler and The Montessori Child, but there are tons of great books on parenting that can just alleviate some of the guilt and still give you that sense of accomplishment. And the biggest piece of advice I can give is to forgive yourself and don't put too much pressure on yourself to be reading. These years are short. You'll have more time to read later. So try to focus on only reading the things that you love and not wasting time on something you should be DNFing. Oh, and as a little bonus, I really liked this little device for your Kindle or iPad or phone or whatever. I don't know if this one in particular is fit for the Kindle, but the idea is there. You just attach it to your neck and you can walk around and read without using your hands, and maybe get a clicker to turn the pages if you want. I think it's kind of funny and cute and looks really comfortable for just hanging out in bed or on the sofa. Yeah. Anyway, that's my video. I hope you got some good tips out of this, or if you have any more tips, leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more mom balancing reading and writing content, I guess. Thank you for watching.